Okay, what is going on? LBHT Crew B, what is going on?
Not a whole lot. You boys taking the week off. Tired of getting beat down. We kind of taking the week off, heading to New York.
Yeah,
Gonna put Aaron Glenn out of his misery.
Listen.
It's a pretty low-key week.
Can't overlook anybody. Okay,
I can overlook them. The Panthers aren't going to overlook them.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the Rams players that I ran into today. I don't know who they were, but they were in the building because they stayed in Baltimore because they're traveling to London from Baltimore, so they didn't fly back to LA. But they were set up in the building where I work at, and I was going down because where I work, they have multiple floors in that building, and it stopped on their floor. And I got off for a second. I was like, "Oh no, this is my floor." And I got back on, and a bunch of them jumped on the elevator with me. And then they're just looking at me.
They were like, "Hey, are you Torrey Smith?"
Right. But I'm guessing that it was like a group of running backs and fullbacks because they were, they were shorter. They were shorter than me, but short very muscular. Yes, yeah. So they kind of look at me for a second, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "What's up?" And then we're just quiet. And then I'm like, "Well, I'm going to the second floor. Are you guys going to the lobby because you're not coming with me?" And they're like, "Yes, sir." And I was like, "Oh, they called me sir." I was like, "All right, get out of here."
Then you said, "That's a wrap. I'm going home."
Yeah. Shout out to the Rams, man. They did what they had to do against us, man. But look, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what the Ravens can do to get back on track if they can. We'll discuss, all the Ravens, the Ravens, typical Ravens transactions. We signed somebody to give us a spark, and that person said, "Nah, I'm good. It's okay. It's all right." We're going to talk about the Panthers heating up, as B said. The NFC South is heating up. We got to talk about that.
Nah, just Carolina.
Just Carolina. And listen, no. We're going to talk about Atlanta and Buffalo because you guys play Buffalo in a couple of weeks.
We sure do.
So we have a lot to discuss in this show. Let's say what's up to the chat, man. First of all, it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well, but if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So wherever you're watching us, make sure you hit that like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening to the audio form of this, we put this out on Thursday at lunchtime. So we hope you're enjoying your lunch break. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review because we are trying to grow on that side. We're trying to go on this side too. We have a goal to hit by the end of the season. A big goal. Okay. So subscribe and share with your friends and loved ones. We're making good pace so far. All right. Who's in the chat here? We have Urban. What's going on, Urban? Says, "What up, LGBT?" It's LBHT. Typo. Autocorrect does that all the time. It's all good. We ain't changed it. What up, LBHT crew? We are announcing our mutual parting of ways with John Harbaugh EDC to bring you the Who Has It Better Than Us podcast launching this all season. See you there. Hey, I'm with it. Speaking of parting ways with Harbaugh and EDC, you see the goal. You should see it in the chat box. Okay, we have a goal of 10 super chats, and we count donations as well. YouTube doesn't, but we do, and you can do that with our QR code right up here. That is to our Cash App, right? Yeah. $ LBHT Show is a Cash App. Also, you can hit that pin link that you see in the chat box. All those ways do donations and hit our goal. All this goes to the Fire Harbaugh EDC fund. Okay, all right. That's what that's for. All right, we're campaigning to get them out of here. Kev T's in the house. What's going on, Kev? Appreciate you coming through. Okay. We got Garrison in the house. Let's salute Jose and Brodny. Salute to you. We got Adelia, our producer, the awesome producer. Says, "What's going on, everyone? If you're here early, hit that like button. Listen to Adelia, folks." Osmond's in the house. Says, "Jose and Brodny, the dynamic duo." There you go.
How you doing, Osmond?
And I'm back in the studio. Okay, I was posted up in our dining room for the last couple of weeks where we had to get some work done in the basement, but we're back. Just Aloes in the house says LBHT fam. I hope everyone is having a great week. EDC is low key more destructive than Harbaugh. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yes. Kwame B is in the house says facts. Just Aloe, especially if he trades Keaton. I heard that rumor that he could be on the move. I don't know.
If you're not going to use him, you might as well.
Yeah.
There's teams looking for running backs, and he deserves a shot to actually play.
Facts. Game Too Easy in the house says, and to think they'll rather keep Ali is crazy.
Special teams, baby.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through. I be saying in the house says, what up, fam? What up, I be saying? D Weezy's in the house. What's going on, Derek? Says Panthers putting a bigger lead on Baltimore this week.
Damn right.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
We are canceling the show if they lose to the Jets. I just want you to know that right now.
Felipe throwing shade already. He says Panthers ain't beating Buffalo. Hold on, Felipe.
You mean
one
Baltimore?
week at a time? 1 week at a time. They play the Jets this week.
You mean Baltimore not beating Buffalo or Houston or the Rams?
We got and listen, Buffalo ain't who you think they are.
No,
they showed that.
Showed you that.
Yeah. Atlanta showed you that. They're not who you think they are. They can be beat, and the Panthers can beat them. All right, we'll discuss that. And we're going to discuss that in next week's episode too. After they take care of business against the Jets, because I think I got them beating the Jets. Yeah. We got Yolanda in the house. Says good evening, LBHT family. What's going on, Yolanda? Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. Ken 88 in the house is Panthers fan here. Salute.
What's up, Ken?
Says fell into y'all chat and had to check it out. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. This is a Ravens and Panthers channel. Okay, B's a Panthers fan. I'm the Ravens fan. So we talk a lot about both teams, and we talk some other sports. Sprinkle that in there, and also the overtime show where we talk about everything. All right, that's on our Patreon. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. Go check it out. Who else we got in here? DDSQ. What's good? Appreciate you coming through. Big Reg in the house. Says, what's good, everybody? What's good with you, Big Reg? And we got Daniel Franklin in the house. Because we aren't who we think we are.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Will Lamar say John's job again, going 10 to 12 wins this year? That's the question, Felipe. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss all that. And we have a fun but quick, I think, court of public opinion. It should be pretty open and shut, but it'll be fun as well. All right. So all that's coming up. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact, and B and Nicole have a Black History fact for you.
This week on the LBHT Black History Fact, Alice Augusta Ball was a trailblazing African-American chemist whose scientific brilliance and quiet determination reshaped the treatment of leprosy in the early 20th century. Born in Seattle, Washington in 1892, Ball grew up in a family that valued education and intellectual curiosity. Her grandfather was a photographer and her father a newspaper editor, both of whom exposed her to science and technology from a young age. She excelled academically and pursued higher education at the University of Washington, earning degrees in pharmaceutical chemistry and pharmacy. Her passion for chemistry and her drive to make a difference led her to the University of Hawaii, where she broke barriers as the first woman and first black person to earn a master's degree in chemistry. She was also appointed as the university's first female and African-American chemistry professor, a remarkable achievement at a time of widespread racial and gender discrimination. Ball's most significant contribution came during her graduate research, where she tackled the challenge of improving chalmugra oil, a traditional remedy for Hansen's disease, leprosy. The oil had long been used in various forms, but it was thick, sticky, and poorly absorbed by the body, making it an unreliable treatment. Through meticulous chemical experimentation, Ball developed a method to isolate the active compounds in the oil and modify them so they could be injected and absorbed effectively. This technique, later named the Ball method, became the most effective treatment for leprosy for decades, offering hope and healing to thousands of patients around the world. Tragically, Alice Ball died in 1916 at the age of just 24, likely due to complications from inhaling toxic gases during her research. Her death cut short a promising career, and for years her work was overshadowed and even misattributed to others. It wasn't until much later that historians and scientists began to uncover the truth and restore credit to Ball for her groundbreaking achievements. Today, she is celebrated as a pioneer in chemistry and medicine. The University of Hawaii honors her legacy with a chalmugra tree planted in her memory. And her story is now taught as an essential chapter in the history of science and civil rights. Alice Ball's life is a testament to the power of intellect, perseverance, and quiet courage. Despite the barriers she faced, she made a lasting impact on global health and opened doors for future generations of scientists, especially women and people of color, who continue to build on her legacy.
Salute to the Black History Fact. Salute to Alice Ball. What were you gonna say?
Osman as well, who sent in the Black History Fact for this week. Appreciate you, Osman.
Yes, appreciate you. And salute to Hawaii. That's a place that's near and dear to me and B's heart. We spent some of our childhood in Hawaii as military brats. So love to see them getting some love there in the Black History Fact there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Look, I know you guys are feeling defeated. I know all is lost. What's going on, DJ Amp? Appreciate you coming through. Said this YouTube update got everything I clicked crashing. Well,
all right. The only advice I can give you, DJ, is don't click anything until the show's over.
Yeah. Wait until after the show to finish that update. Look, man. Me and B try not to get too high or too low on our teams. We call things how we see them. Sometimes it might come off as negative. Sometimes, people think we're being unrealistic. And listen, man, like, it's all opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. We're not always right. We are right a lot. We are right a lot. And that's not even gloating, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, listen, I'll tell you one thing we get wrong every year. We've been picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl every year. We've been getting that wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But they are a Super Bowl caliber team. The issues that we have with how the team is run, those have been valid reasons. And you've had people out there telling you not to listen to us, telling you that we're haters, telling you, oh, they never play the game and all that stuff. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, fine. It's just an opinion. But now you kind of see it.
I'm telling you that if you think that Lamar Jackson is the reason that this team wins games, that you're just a Lamarite, not really a Ravens fan. There was one person in particular who was telling people that. You remember that guy? He was a former player, the less famous, less liked, less talented brother of the Ishmael family. Kadri Ishmael, he's kind of changed his tune.
Is that Lamar, what he called everybody? He called them Lamarites.
Yeah, he called. He's out here saying Lamar covering up for the players, the coaches, and the GM.
Oh, look at that! Look at that. We only said that a few years ago, and he's just now catching up. But I guess now that he sees it with his eyes, now it's valid because he uses professional eyes to see it.
And listen, I don't think that Kadri Ishmael is a bad person or anything like that. But this is a life lesson, right? Don't put yourself in between a corporation or a multi-billion-dollar organization and the bullets coming from the fans, because listen, that organization don't care about you, and their one objective is going to be screwing the customer or fan out of as much money as possible, and whatever defense that you're putting up is going to be exposed either in the short or long term, and you're going to look like a clown like he looks.
Facts.
Now, he may not be a clown. I'm sure he's a fine individual, but you sound like a clown when you're going at fans like that, and then you have to turn around and change your opinion because everything that the fans were saying was correct, and you were just out here, carrying water for the team that you aren't even a part of.
Yeah. And listen, because I saw Torrey Smith catching a little heat earlier today too, and I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I don't think people took it the way he meant it, right? But he basically saying, "Hey, look, you got people out here that don't really understand what they're looking at, blaming people for misassignments where they don't really know what the assignment is, right?" And I think he was talking about the O-line. So people were we're posting clips of Falele like, "Bro, we're not stupid. You got to be careful when you're criticizing fans, right? Yes, we all know we haven't played the game." We know that, but to challenge people's intelligence and act like we don't understand the game. If we didn't understand the game, we won't watch the game. Yeah. Do we understand it to the level that you understand it? No, maybe not. Sometimes yes, because some of these players don't know football either. They just have the athletic ability to do it. But man, listen, you ain't got to go out there and defend the O-line. They're terrible. Right. And yes, sometimes you're absolutely right. There are things going on that may not be the player's fault. Yes, it may not be the player's fault. They might be coached wrong, which Coach Evans says all the time when he's breaking down film, that the way they're blocking is not how you're supposed to be teaching blocking to O-linemen. So there's definitely a coaching issue there. But results matter. If you don't know anything else, this is a results business. And when you're 1-5, when the O-line's not protecting anybody, when you can only score 6 points when Lamar's not in the game, that's what matters at the end of the day. All right. Performance matters, results matter. And you ain't got to go out there and defend the organization like B said, man. They're not going to do anything for you. When you can't perform anymore, Kadri, Torrey, any of these players, they let you go.
Yeah.
Right. They're not out there saying, "Hey, we're gonna ride with you until you hang up those cleats because you served us well for all these years. You gave us some great years, and we're gonna honor that by keeping you on the team." No, they cut you. Right. So you ain't gotta go out there and defend these guys when they're doing a terrible job. All right. This ain't about Falele. This ain't about Voorhees. Right. And I know people online, they get a little personal and they shouldn't. But it's really about Harbaugh and EDC and Steve Bisciotti. Okay, they're who's found the team.
Yeah, because again, I'll remind you, Daniel Falele is a Pro Bowler. Right, he's proven his talent. All right.
Look, honestly, those two are still younger players.
Mm-hmm.
It could turn out later on that they're solid players. They could still turn out to be solid players. They're not lost causes. But the problem is they're projects. And a year where we're supposed to be competing for a Super Bowl, you don't just throw them out there to start. You got to let them compete for the job, let them develop if they're not ready, and then work them into the lineup. But you just threw them out there. They don't have any experience. They're not being coached well. And of course they look lost. Nitro says YouTube won't let you watch, but you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, but you're in here though. Sorry.
Jared says YouTube is tripping as well. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Well, I guess I got to put my IT hat on for a second. Close out your app, open it back up, restart your phone. Maybe if it's asking for update, don't push the update yet.
And also, I'll tell you what else. That's what the replay's for. And you watch that replay and go ahead and leave some comments. All right.
Well, at this point, I would like to remind you we're also streaming on Facebook and Twitch. So those are other places that you can go and watch the show. If you're not subscribed over there, I know our Twitch numbers are down. There's an easy way to get those numbers up. Go over to Twitch where the app is working and subscribe. All right, LBHT Show everywhere. If you got Facebook, you can watch it on Facebook as well. All right, let's keep this party going. Okay, it crashed before and after the update. Yeah, don't yeah, restart your phone. Start with that. Restart your phone. I'll do some research into that later on. Okay, this is what I do for a living. Google your problems and solve them out of Google. Okay. What's going on? Adrian from Press Start 410 says YouTube is working on my TV, but not my phone. Hey, YouTube, get it together. Down Detector is reporting a lot of problems with YouTube right now. Yeah. All right. Facebook, y'all.
All right. Well, let's leave the chat be and just do the show and get up out of here.
Hey, Adil, can you just let the people know in the chat in case they can't hear us? Go over to Facebook and Twitch, and they can watch over there. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's at LBHT Show if they're looking for it. All right. So, but listen. We'll do a quick recap of the Rams game. We kind of went over it on Sunday. Better effort from the defense.
I'll say a slightly better effort. I think it was more about the Rams not playing well and losing Puka Nacua very early in the game.
No, I'll give them some credit. Yes, I mean they contributed for sure, but they play with more energy.
I'm not saying they didn't at all. I'm just saying it was both things. They did play a bit better than they have, but it was also Matt Staffording. Puka Nacua being knocked out of the game, and a lot of the Rams players had bad games. There was some unforced errors in there, but they did play better, obviously defensively. Can't really say the same for the other side of the ball.
Completely fell apart, man. Completely fell apart, and I mean it was turnovers, right? This is a game that surprisingly they probably should have won. You don't score at the goal line. You have an early interception. You have a fumble when you're driving. You had two fumbles, really, on Zay Flowers. One was credited to Cooper Rush, but it's really two fumbles on Zay Flowers that really killed those drives. And those drives, I think, at least one of them converts to points. There's a lot of opportunities to score and, at the very least, having a tie game at the end and maybe try to win in overtime. Had you won that game, that would have been huge, right?
Yeah,
that'd have been huge. But as it stands, 1-5. Going back to the game. Then we'll talk about what happens next. But outside, I mean, there wasn't much to say on the offense. Derrick Henry had a 100-yard game, and that's another thing, man. Like, he had a great game. Why aren't you giving him the ball in at the goal line? Why aren't you giving him the ball in those crucial moments? Yeah, man.
And nobody's ever gonna suspect that when you put Mark Andrews under center that you're just gonna push it. Okay. You gotta outsmart these defenses.
So outsmart them by doing the next predictable thing. You do a toss. You do a toss to the left, and they immediately sniff it out. And I don't even know why you even bother blocking. They ran right through the blockers.
They did indeed. But that's to be expected a bit, right? Like, that's kind of their MO this season. They don't really block anybody.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah, we did get a cash app from Adrian. Thank you very much, Adrian. It says YouTube playing about as good as the Ravens.
All right, that he gets one of these. Appreciate it.
That's not nice.
I appreciate it. Okay. So this is perfect timing. TJ wants to know, y'all think we can make the playoffs?
It's going to be very tough. Like he said, if they had beat the Rams or the Texans, one of those games, that gives them a little bit of breathing room. But their backs are firmly against the wall at this point. They are, excuse me, because it's 7 teams that make it, the 4 division winners and 3 wild cards. They are 3 games back of the last wild card spot, and they're a couple games back of Kansas City, who also beat them already and looks like they have kind of turned their season around at this point, right? So right now they're looking at New England, the Jaguars, and then either the Chargers or the Broncos. Those are the teams that are going to be the wild cards right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're 3 games back of all of those teams. So it's not even just about whether or not they can turn around their own play. They have to have a good bit of luck with those teams losing multiple games down the stretch. It's possible. They have a pretty easy schedule. I just, with the way this team's been playing, even with Lamar coming back, I don't think they get the number of wins they need. They'll be better. They're going to win most of the rest of their games. But as of right now, at 1-5, you got to win at least, I would say, at least 9 of the next 11, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I don't. Like I said, I think that's the worst case scenario. I just don't really see them being able to do it.
Okay, I'll say this: we're in a position, same as what we've been talking about with the Panthers this year. You gotta take it week to week, right? Week to week. It's really going to tell me everything I need to know about this team coming out the bye playing the Bears. The Bears are a competitive team. They're a team that's trying to really turn it around, and they're going to play hard. We're coming off the bye. Presumably, Lamar Jackson will be back, and Roquan Smith will be back. The team will be healthier. Maybe even Ricard. I think Pat Ricard might be back, or it might be a little bit later for him. I don't know. If Pat Ricard comes back, I said this yesterday on the Ravens Roundup, the O-line will appear to be a little bit better because he helps with blocking.
Yeah.
Sad to say we shouldn't be leaning on the fullback to make our blocking better, but he does make the blocking better. So it will help with the blocking. The unit will look better overall with him in the game. So we'll be healthier. We'll have Lamar back. And it really depends on how we play in that game. Obviously, we need to win. But how do we look? Do we look like we're playing inspired football? Are we executing a little better? Is there a sense of urgency? We go out there and we win that game and really, really impress. Then, yeah, we could be back on track. I would need to see it again the next week. I gotta see consistency, right? But if they do, yes, like B said, the schedule is very favorable. And also, yes, we need some of these other teams to lose. The Patriots are on our schedule, so we can just flat out beat them. And if they lose 2 more games down the stretch, we're ahead of them. So we can definitely get things going here. What's going on, Tracy? Says, finally got my guys. YouTube messing up. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for checking us out on Facebook.
Yes.
If YouTube's giving you problems, Facebook and Twitch is where you can find us. Okay.
And if you're having to go over to Facebook, just go ahead and join the Lunch Break Hot Take group over there as well.
Yes, please and thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, if we lose to the Bears, the season is over for sure. But I'm thinking positive thoughts here. Right? We're too negative. Positive thoughts. We should be able to beat the Bears. And then I think we play the Bengals, or we play the Dolphins and then the Bengals or something like that. It's a very favorable schedule. They need to go out there and play their best football. All those losses that we typically, those losses we shouldn't have in the season, we're well past our quota. So it's time to get it going. So if they do, yes, we can win 9 out of 11 games. We can win 11 out of 11 games. Green Bay is another team. If we get hot, yes, we can beat them. And I'm not really too worried about it if we're the team that we're supposed to be down the stretch. Now, if we're not, if they come out and they're still struggling, even if in a win against the Bears, if they still look like they're off, that tells me that the team is checked out. The players aren't really feeling what Harbaugh has to say anymore. And there's no reason to go through the rest of the season with Harbaugh, especially if they lose.
Yeah.
Lose to the Bears. I don't see any reason to go forward with Harbaugh at that point. Fire him. Maybe the interim coach can come in and give him a little spark. But at that point, you're just trying to make it to the end of the season.
Yeah. Jeff Drybeck, of course, already came out. I believe it was Jeff, reported that there's no real chance of them firing John Harbaugh. It's certainly not in season, and what he's saying is even after the season. He said the indication he's getting is he doesn't believe that one bad year is going to do in John Harbaugh, essentially, unless it looks like he's just lost the team.
But that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what fans are talking about. But that's something that they are going to know internally. That we don't really know. It can kind of look like that, and frustration a lot of times will present as I'm tuning you out, and I'm not listening to what you have to say or whatever. But that's really kind of an internal thing that they would have to determine whether those guys are still listening to the message that's coming from this coaching staff.
But again, this is where it comes, where we say this is a results business. Mm-hmm. They may all like John Harbaugh, but if they're not winning and they're saying in interviews they don't know what's going on, you're losing the team, right? It may be one of those things where they may not have a problem with them personally. They might say, yeah, we like coach or whatever, but they don't understand what's going on. They don't, and they're sitting there just like, man, I don't know what happened. I don't know. That's a clear sign that you've lost the team.
I think it's different because we don't know what's going on. To me, is saying Zach Orr don't really know what he's doing. You know what I mean? And we are as a defense, as a group of players, we're more experienced than our defensive coordinator, right? And this is not what we're used to. And playing on the NFL level, I don't know what he's doing. So I think that they would probably view that differently than, man, this team doesn't want to play for John Harbaugh anymore.
Yeah, but that leads to not, having some negative thoughts of the coach. If the guy that's keeping you from winning, you're not getting rid of, you're not making a change. That signals to the players you value your friends over the team's success.
It could, but what I'm saying is I don't think that they're at that place right now. No. That's something that would have to, be kind of examined internally at the end of the season to say, hey, do these guys really want John Harbaugh here? And they all do their exit interviews and everything, and I'm sure they'll have opinions. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Purple Rain Podcast, our guy Sutton, who does a show with me every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Sip Totality Films channel for the Ravens Roundup. Says if the Bears even look like they belong on a field with the Ravens, then just go ahead and punt on the season.
I don't understand this. Hey, the Bears are 3-2. This is not the Bears of a couple of years ago. This is a good, solid team. They're not a top tier team, but they're not a team to just be brushed off.
I think it could be a competitive game. It all depends on how we look. You know what I mean? If the game looks like the Rams game, but we score more points, fine, right? At least as long as we're not giving up, 38 points, 40 points, they're playing tough football, but we're kind of keeping them in check. The offense is executing better, right? And it's just a tougher game. All right, fine, fine. But they need to look like they know what they're doing out there. They need to be out there executing these plays. They can't look lost in their blocking schemes. They can't look dejected from a fumble here and there. And the defense has to play like they played against the Rams. They got to look like they want to tackle. You know what I mean? The body language is big to me. But going back to what you're saying about what Jeff Zerbe says, yes, no, we don't know them individually, or in person. We don't know what the feeling is truly. But this is we see how it goes in the business, right? I don't see, if this season falls apart, if they really go downhill, I don't see Steve Bisciotti keeping Harbaugh around. And just because people are telling Just Ray Bick, no, that's not the way it's going to go, that doesn't mean that's not how it's going to go. We've seen it here before in Baltimore. That's exactly what they said about Brian Billick right before they fired him. Right? Because I remember that vividly. I remember thinking, man, we stuck with this dude even longer. I don't like this. And then boom, fired.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think that's the feeling as of now. And honestly, I mean, it's accurate, right? You just lost 5 of your first 6. You're going into the bye week, and they made no changes, not even changing the defensive coordinator. So like they're comfortable right now, very very clearly, and that's from the top all the way down. Like they don't think it's a problem, or at least not a problem that requires drastic measures to fix. Like I said, I would not be shocked if y'all come out and lose to the Bears. I would expect the offense to play much better with Lamar, but Caleb Williams is having a decent season. You know, they've got Roma Dunze, they've got DJ Moore, Luther Burden. I think is kind of slow to come on, but he's a talented guy.
He's flashed.
Yeah. They got DeAndre Swift, and they've been competitive in all their games except for the Detroit game, really. And they just got a big win over Washington. So it wouldn't shock me for y'all to lose that one. But you know, obviously it's a every game at this point is a must win for Baltimore. And I just don't know. I don't have too many questions about the offense with Lamar coming back, right? Obviously the O-line hasn't been playing well, but Lamar is a level of player that will fix the offense just with his presence, essentially. The defense is my main concern. And also, I mean, to be honest, the fact that you're going to be looking for Lamar to play perfectly from here on out, because if he has a bad game, you're definitely going to lose. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to put on one player.
And I just want to point out real quick too, when we have these losses and Lamar doesn't play a great football game and you don't really hear us harp too much on an interception that he had or a fumble that he had, right? We bring it up. We say, hey, yeah, that wasn't a good throw. That was an ill-advised throw, bad pick, you know, but it's also not the reason why we lost the game, right? We say that a lot. It's not the reason why the Ravens lost the game. And some of y'all, not a lot, but some of y'all get mad, like, yo, why you defend Lamar? He played terrible. He played terrible. No, man. No, it's just that he didn't play perfect. And if he doesn't play perfect, we lose the game. 2 weeks of him being out, you see what we mean now. You see, they can't move the ball at all. You can't score 6 points. You can't score 6 points when he's not in the game, right? Like that tells you what he's working with. So yes, when he doesn't look perfect, it shows how ugly that team really is. So no, we don't get on him that often because nobody plays perfect. And listen, you hear about Lamar more because this is a Lamar market in the media. Mm-hmm. So if he doesn't have a good game, you're going to hear it on every outlet, every sports show, podcast, whatnot. You're going to hear about it. When Josh Allen has a bad game, like he did on Monday, crickets.
Yeah.
You're reigning MVP.
And that was against a team, no offense, game that they absolutely should have beat. Right.
It doesn't agree.
Well, no, that does not agree, but it's the reality. And he went out there and he had a couple of bad interceptions, and you know, they got sacked 4 times, and they were disjointed, and they just didn't get it done. Right. They looked like they were just kind of going through the motions, and you lost one. And well, now 2 in a row, and it's going to be 3 out of 4 at least.
Who do they play next?
Their next game is.
You're talking about the Panthers.
I am talking about the Panthers, obviously. Their next game, actually, I think they're on a bye this week. Yeah, they have a bye and then Carolina, so they're going to lose 3 in a row. Actually, no, I'm sorry, they're going to lose 4 in a row because they got KC after that.
They're not being Kansas City.
They about to be 4-4.
So we're gonna talk about that in the Panthers segment, but I'm telling y'all, the Panthers could absolutely beat the Bills.
Yeah,
they could absolutely. Now, you know, are they gonna show up offensively? That's the thing.
Yeah, they're getting healthy offensively. Taylor Moton's coming back.
No. I'm talking about the Bills.
I don't care about that.
I'm talking about
they ain't got no offense to be healthy. All right, ain't nobody scared of Keon Coleman.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But D, you said Carolina's better than Atlanta, who's better than Buffalo, who's better than the Ravens.
Yes. Game. I feel like you're just setting me up here with this one. No, sir. A well-built team like my Falcons is never an easy win. You lost by 32 weeks ago, bro. You didn't score a single point.
That game was too easy. That one game was too easy. I don't think it's gonna look like that the second time.
Carolina didn't even play that well in that game. No, it won't be 30-0 next time. But Carolina's gonna win again. We own Atlanta.
Hey, no comment. No comment. Panthers are gaining their stride right now. But just to kind of wrap up with the Ravens, man, this bye week, people got to get healthy. They got to figure some things out. And being talk about CJ Gardner-Johnson being here literally just for a cup of coffee. He stopped in.
That was a nothing signing from the beginning. You have a coach who cannot stand anybody with a personality. And then you have a personality in CJ Gardner-Johnson who the league at large cannot stand.
CJ Gardner-Johnson was here for less time than the Rams were in Baltimore. The Rams were still here. They just left out today. Yeah. They just left out today. They were still here. They were here for 2 weeks. CJ Gardner-Johnson was here for like a week and a half.
Yeah. Detroit kicked him out. Philly kicked him out. Houston's kicked him out. He was on a couple teams before that. And it's not a talent issue. You know, the guy can play. I mean, he's not the greatest safety in the world, but he can play. It's an attitude issue, obviously, or a personality issue, I should say.
Yeah.
And you have a guy in John Harbaugh who can't handle personalities.
No.
How was that ever going to work?
But that's what I'm saying about EDC. Like, why do we defend EDC? This is an EDC move.
Got rid of him. Thank you, Ferris.
Yes, thank you, Ferris. Why do we continue to defend Eric DeCosta on these ridiculous moves? Right?
Yeah, I'm not going to put that one on EDC. I'm not. That's on Harbaugh. That's on Harbaugh because look, be a grown-up and deal with other grown-ups. Like Eric DeCosta is out here bringing in talent. Like he's a talented guy. Alohi Gilman is a talented guy. You ain't need 57 safeties, but like they're talented players, right? But okay, you know, at the time when they signed CJ, I thought maybe Kyle was going to miss more time than he did, but he's a talented player. Deal with it. Don't cut the dude because you don't like his attitude. Like, what is he doing on the field? That's the question.
But listen, you spent 2 first-round picks on safeties. Mm-hmm. You drafted some more safeties before that. You picked up one after the draft. I think was Sanusi Kane there after the draft? I think Sanusi Kane, or no, he got drafted in the other. Bo Braid
was undrafted.
Yeah.
Then Lowry was undrafted as well. But actually no, Ardarius was also undrafted, I believe, or was a late pick.
Yeah, and Ardarius got hurt. Now, I think Ardarius Washington would have made a difference in stabilizing that secondary just because of his experience, right? But you drafted Malachi Starks in the first round. He has to be ready to go now. That whole give him a year or two. Not when you pick that high in the first round. No, sir. You gotta ball out right now. And I do put down EDC. You're wasting too much of your resources on that side of the ball, and you still have to go out on the street and make trades at both positions, right? At the safety positions, and yeah, you signed into the practice squad. He thinking he gonna come right up, and that is where Harbaugh gets that smoke because you know he's not here to be on the practice squad. You know he's not there to not be in a game, just like Deontay Johnson last year. Why is he?
Yeah, to Kwame's point, saying he wanted to be cut. Yeah, because you heard different things from the GM and the coach.
Yes, yeah, but again, the buck stops with EDC. Like, is this your team or not? Right? Like, you have to say, "Hey, he's coming here to start." Like, that's what it is,
or at least be active, or you know, whatever you told him.
Don't give him anything.
But we did get a cash app from our guy Bazel. Thank you very much. He says, "What was the
Bazel
fact? I missed it. It was Alice Ball, who helped refine a treatment for leprosy, and unfortunately passed away very young at the age of 24. So due to complications from inhaling toxic gases during a research, but he's been honored at the University of Hawaii with a Chalmugra tree that was planted in her honor. But you can see that on the replay. But thank you very much, Basil. Appreciate you.
Are we bringing Ferris? There he is.
What's up,
I was gonna say we can bring Ferris. So what's up, Ferris?
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to that Chalmugra tree.
Wow. So, see, I took a beat before I tried to pronounce it. Like you gotta do it. It's Chalmugra.
Chalmugra.
There you go.
Yeah. Ferris, what are your thoughts on this Ravens organization? We're getting ready to transition to some Panthers talk in a minute, but
well, I'm here for the Panthers talk, man. Go Panthers, baby. Keep pounding.
That's
you
right.
know
Okay.
it. You know, baby.
I
everybody. I told everybody the Panthers was gonna win. Didn't I tell everybody, Brodny? What I tell? I told everybody. I was like,
Yes.
The Panthers gonna win.
You did in fact tell us that Carolina was going to beat the favorite team of your best friend.
Exactly.
So that you can laugh at him on air.
I love that hoodie there, Ferris. What is that?
Well, I got this hoodie, right? Specially made the great people at Lunch Break Hot Take, right? It is none other than, shout out to our Fells Point Mafia peoples.
Hey,
shout out to everybody, you know what I mean? Shout out, shout out to Fells Point Mafia, you know what I mean? Shout out to
Fells Point Mafia. There you go. There you go. LBHTShow.com is where you
LBHTShow.com, you know what I mean? Shout out to Fells Point, you know what I mean? Shout out to them. But yeah, man, it's just someone's getting fired this offseason.
Yeah, exactly.
How does the GM sign a player, and then the GM is telling the player, "We're gonna sign you to the practice squad. You're probably gonna spend a week on the practice squad, then you're gonna get elevated." That's probably what was said. And then the coach is like, "Nah, I'm gonna get rid of this dude." Well, yeah. I just find it hilarious to me, right? Because I used to think, right, I'm an outside observer, right? And I think a lot of outside observers, when they talk about the Ravens, they always kept saying like, "Oh, how a good this is a well-run organization." With Ozzy, it was like, "Oh, this organization is well-run. Look at the way they do things. This is the right way to operate as a team." And a lot of people still think that, right? But now, because I've hung out with a lot of people who are Ravens fans, who kind of, the fans of every team, they unleash the dirty laundry of the team that the outside observer doesn't really know, right? Because a lot of Chiefs fans, let's go back in the day, they didn't like Glenn Dorsey, or was it Glenn Dorsey?
Yeah,
it was Glenn. They didn't like him. They were like, he has something's wrong with him, and we need to get rid of him. And they did. And then Andy kind of got more power, and then he found Brett Veach. Now Veach and him.
No, I'm sorry, not Glenn Dorsey was the player. I thought you were talking about the player.
John Dorsey, my bad.
Yeah,
John Dorsey. It was John Dorsey. It was like John Dorsey. They were like, he was right about Baker. Shout out to you, John. In a sense, maybe we'll see about if Baker can, keep it going.
Yeah.
But and then he found Brett Veach, and then now Veach and Andy are good. And certain teams that like Cowboys fans tell you all the time about how Jerry's an imbecile and the real GM is Will McClay and all that stuff. And then Ravens fans have showed me you guys are, when you show up to somebody's room and you're like, "Oh my God, this room looks immaculate." But then you find out that they just put all their dirt underneath the bed and you're not checking in underneath the bed. That's what the Baltimore Ravens are. They're just sweeping the dirt underneath the bed, right? The Giants, the dirt's all up on Front Street. You know it. The trash is right there. They're a badly run organization. But the Ravens, they put the dirt underneath the bed, so you don't really say how it is. When every player on that 2012 championship team tells you the reason we won a title is that we stopped listening to him. What made you think, let me keep this guy?
He's a great coach.
When the players told you in multiple interviews, we won because we stopped listening to him, your GM, I'm blaming Ozzy here, and your owner said, "You know what, let's keep this guy."
I think at the time, obviously, you could defend the move, right? Because a lot of those guys were on their way out the door.
Yeah,
they
were the
literally
legends.
Ray Lewis's last year.
Yep.
Ed Reed only had a couple more years after that.
He was shipped to
Even Nada was close to retirement at that point. We
Yeah.
traded him to Detroit, but he didn't play for much longer after that. So those guys that are really the leaders of the team weren't going to be there much longer. It's easy, you could say, okay, we won a Super Bowl with this guy. He's young, and we can build the team, get the guys that he wants to coach in here, and let's try to keep it going. I get that part of it, but at some point, if you're serious about winning, you can't keep just keeping your friends around just because you establish a relationship with them. If it's not working, it's not working. The instincts were right with Steve Bisciotti to fire him Lamar's rookie year. His instincts were right. They should have done it and stuck with it, and then go forward and play some championship football moving forward. But Lamar got hot, and he said, okay, well, I don't have to let him go. I'm going to keep it going. But now we're at that point again where, look, man, something has to change. You can't be that bad when he's not playing. Like and this goes for EDC too, right? Focus on my camera there. This goes for EDC too. Like, it's not a well-built team. A well-built team is when the Eagles lost Carson Wentz that year. He was having a great year. And they lost him for the season, and they bring in, was it Nick Foles, to be the backup quarterback, and they win a Super Bowl with the backup quarterback. And turns out that Carson Wentz wasn't that good either. They won a Super Bowl guards. That's a well-built team. That's a well-built team. What we have here is trash.
Well, it's well-built and well-coached, right?
Yeah.
And Baltimore is neither. Because the Eagles aren't even the only example of that. The Saints, a few years back, towards the end of Drew Brees' career, he was injured. He missed 5 games. Teddy Bridgewater comes in. They go 5-0.
Yes.
Right? That's a well-built, well-coached team.
Teddy.
Even you look at the entire AFC North outside of Baltimore, basically, Pittsburgh won 10 plus games with baby hands and the racist Rudolph and Duck
Hodges.
Yeah, the Duck.
The Browns, they won. I think they were above 500 with Joe Flacco and a couple other clowns at quarterback there. Cincinnati, the last time Joe Burrow went down, missed like 7 games. They went 4-3 with Jake Browning to keep that season alive. Baltimore has never been able to survive without Lamar Jackson, and because this isn't the first time. It's happened multiple times that Lamar has missed, multiple games in the season, and they look completely lost. The thing is, Tyler Huntley will come in, and because he can run a little bit, fans would get excited and be like, oh, well, we're still competitive, that he's good, blah, 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 blah. No, man, you went from being one of the best teams in the league to we can't win because Lamar was out. And there's no excuse for that. Maybe the first time you say, okay, well, I thought that we were better. I thought that this was a well-built team. But after that first time that happens, you have to reevaluate what you've put together, right? You have to reevaluate the way you've built this team and how it functions without Lamar Jackson at quarterback. But they don't seem either, capable or willing to do so, right? You have a GM, again, who, for whatever reason, doesn't believe in building the team through the offensive and defensive lines. He can say that that's the way to do it all he wants. He can say he believes that, but his actions show otherwise. They had a great offensive line, early on when he took over, and he's let it deteriorate every year. They never replaced Marshall Yanda. They never really replaced, well, not never, they have now, but it took them a while to replace Orlando Brown. They don't have any replacement in the future for Ronnie Stanley. They've got 2 gaping holes at guard, and the line has gotten Lamar Jackson hurt multiple times. And you still came into this season saying, yeah, it's not that big a deal. We'll just let them learn on the job. And then on the other side of the ball, like, you're supposed to be this defensive dynasty. That's the identity of the Baltimore Ravens. And you're going for stars at every position. You want these all pro players. You got 5 first-round picks in the secondary. You go and you get Roquan because he's that old school middle linebacker, and you're bringing back the 2000 defense. And then you look at the defensive line, and you've got Nnamdi, you've got Travis, and you got Broderick, and you've got literally nothing behind them.
Right.
And now, you're crossing your fingers and hoping that those guys don't get hurt, and they all got hurt. And what are you doing now? You're looking like the Dallas Cowboys run defense out there.
Yeah. Also, too, before we switch over, let's switch over to the Panthers. Well, no, why am I acting like let's switch over to the Panthers? That's your guys' decision. They talked. Yeah, that's. I don't know. I'm sorry. Kwame brought up Teddy Bridgewater being a backup for the Saints, and like, not all backups are like Teddy Bridgewater. So that's a GM issue. Go get someone like Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, yes. and listen, backup, like Teddy Bridgewater is not just a great backup.
Yeah,
like he's been a bad backup elsewhere.
Yeah,
right? You have to know your team, and you have to find guys who are ready to play at that time. I think that the way people look at team building now is like it's all about the efficiency and getting the value and all this stuff. But winning, you have to have the right players at the right time.
Yeah, because Teddy,
like Falele could be an All-Pro 5 years from now, but you're ready to win a Super Bowl now.
And also, too, let's say you guys got Teddy this year, he would also die behind that offensive line because Teddy Bridgewater is a kind of a stereotypical statue quarterback. He's not gonna, run for his life. Like he's also a starter in Minnesota. And you know what? He's a Dan Bailey. No, is it Dan Bailey? I think it was Dan Bailey.
The coach?
No. The kicker who missed that kick against Seattle. Remember? Was it Dan Bailey? It was Dan Bailey? No, it wasn't Dan Bailey, was it? I don't know what it was. It was. I think it was some dumb kicker. He missed a 38-yard field goal. It dinks off the post, and Minnesota was ready to win a Super Bowl right then and there. That defense with Mike Zimmer, they were on fire, and they could have won a Super Bowl, but that kicker missed it. And Teddy Bridgewater was their quarterback. And, sometimes you don't, someone pointed this out to me on Twitter. It made me laugh. The NFC has great rosters. Like top to bottom, those rosters are just amazing. The AFC has the star quarterbacks. Like in the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league, 4 or 5 of them are in the AFC. Yeah, Lamar, Patrick, Josh, Joe,
Justin.
That's 5 right there. And then in the NFC, you got Jalen, Dak, Bryce.
Damn, man.
Yes, Bryce, absolutely. Baker, now. You get, Jackson Dart. Sorry, sneak that in there. But sometimes the star quarterback cannot alleviate the bad roster construction. Case in point, Baltimore and Cincinnati. That roster construction is, in a sense, could be defined as a hate crime. Because it is awful.
But Cincinnati is a great example, right? Because they came close. They almost overcame it. With how great Joe Burrow is, how great Jamar Chase is, how great T. Higgins is.
Stafford,
they almost overcame it. They got to the Super Bowl. They were one drive away from being Super Bowl champions.
One pass away.
And then
their guard couldn't block Aaron Donald.
No guard can block Aaron Donald. But what's happened since then, right? Or in the other years, Joe Burrow tore his ACL. Joe Burrow missed 7 games a couple of years ago. Joe Burrow's out for 3 months this season because it's not sustainable to play behind that offensive line, even if you are throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? It all came together for them one season, and they almost snuck out of there with a Lombardi, but they didn't do it. And now that team is nowhere near a title contender because they haven't fixed the core issues with that roster. Now, the same thing is true in Baltimore, but they've been more consistent because Lamar's better than Joe. But they still have not been able to overcome, some of the flaws with that team, and honestly, more so the coaching every year when they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, he gets out coached every year, and every year Bisciott's like, "Let's do it again, buddy."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, "Nah, bro, let's call a spade a spade." He's one of those owners that he gets the check from the revenue sharing, and it's 250 or 500 million, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? That's fine with me."
Yeah.
And, you know,
we'll discuss more as the season goes on. We'll see which way this goes, but Lamar's going to have to make a stand in the offseason if things don't go well the rest of this season. He's going to have to put his foot down and be like, "Look, I'm not helping y'all out with any kind of extension or anything until we fix the front office. Like it has to go that way. He has a poor change."
Shout out to some of the NBA players who are called coach killers, because sometimes they kill a bad coach.
Thanks.
Sometimes the coach is bad, and sometimes the star player got to say he sucks. We can't go nowhere with him. But the NFL player is built different because they're built within the scheme. Like they're a cog. Go, I'm here for the team. You know, I'm here to fight for everyone. You know, we'll keep charging. He's like, no, shut up. The guy sucks.
Yep, people mockingly call LeBron the GM, but if he kept his mouth shut, he would still have David Black coaching him, right?
and I've never understood that, because how is it an insult when he's won 4 titles?
Right.
That's a good GM to me.
Yeah.
Some GMs don't even got titles.
Exactly.
You know, Sam Presti finally won one after, those wheel and dealing he kept making, that resulted into nothing, but finally got one. Shout out to him. Kevin Pritchard literally stunk for like 4 years straight. And then the Pacers finally got where they were because they hired Rick Carlisle. Mm-hmm. The one thing they were missing, he knew he had a little talent. He needed the coach to corral them. And Rick Carlisle was perfect for them. Screw the Pacers, but they're a good coach team.
But no, like players need to step up. If you have enough leverage, speak out, because this organization is definitely not going in the right direction. They've proven that they're not good. So a change has happened.
There is somebody, an organization that is going in the right direction.
You damn right.
Who's that?
It's a little team down south in the Queen City of Charlotte, called the Carolina Panthers. The 3-3 Carolina Panthers, soon to be 4-3 Carolina Panthers.
Okay, let's talk about the let's recap the game real quick. The Cowboys and Panthers.
Oh, you want to recap that? Rico Dowdle.
You know it.
Rico Dowdle.
You know it.
Rico Dowdle.
Say it again.
And then some Tedderone McMillan.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, that Dallas defense, absolutely awful. Embarrassing. Rico Dowdle told them what he was going to do, went out there and did it. I was surprised a bit by how well Carolina played against Dallas's run. They completely shut down the run game in Dallas. All they really had going, and it was very effective, was throwing it to George Pickens, because Carolina refuses to put J.C. Horn on the number one receiver on the other team, and he absolutely cooked Mike Jackson all day long. But yeah, no, it was a great game for Carolina. When you're a rebuilding team and kind of an ascending team, like, you need wins like that, right? Dallas isn't a great team, obviously, but Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. That offense is pretty much on fire, right? They've been playing very well, and to go back and forth with them and lead that drive late in the game, get the touchdown, get the win, or the field goal and get the win. I think it's a big confidence booster, especially after you had the 17-point comeback against Miami the week before. And now you can kind of see the team rolling into form. Guys are getting healthier. They're getting more confident. They're making fewer mistakes. And it looks like they're finally really gelling into what Dave Canales had planned for them. And they just got to keep it going, and what better way than the New York Jets?
But one thing I want to say, I'm going to let you get your 2 cents in, Ferris. But I just want to say this real quick: the Cowboys game and the Miami game. What I saw at the end of both of those games tells me that this team knows not to quit, even when things don't go right on defense. Things don't go right. They did not hang their heads down. They didn't say, "Oh man, we blew it." They're like, "Ain't gonna do it again."
Hey,
right?
I'll tell you what too. They didn't win this one, but the Cardinals game.
Yes,
they fighting in that one. Got the onside kick, and we're just that one drive away.
I think that's what sparked it, though. I think Canals told him, like, man, don't ever give up. We almost had that game. Don't ever give up. And they don't. They're going to fight. So no, they're not the most talented defense, but they don't quit. But go ahead, Ferris. What are your thoughts on the game?
That's great man management, right? In the other football, soccer, there's they split managers into two categories. A man manager, which is just go out there, guys, and give it your all, and we're gonna push and win. And you have the rah-rah guy, and then you have then the other guys. The strategy is like, okay, you move here, and then you're gonna create space over here, then you're gonna overload here. This is what you do. I don't really like you people. Just follow the instructions. That's great man management by Dave Canales. Because it could have fell on deaf ears. It's like, here, we were down 17. He keeps rah-rahing in my ear. Shut up, Dave. I don't care. I mean, we're done. But no, they weren't done. They didn't give up. They fought back. And sometimes, you're a grown man. You're in the NFL. You're getting a good paycheck. You're like, who cares if I win this game or lose this game? It's over. Let's keep it moving. But he kind of coached them like a high school team. We're down 20, but we can come back, and he did. By the way, let's bring some stats. Rico Dowdle has over 200 scrimmage yards his last two games, making him the first undrafted player in NFL history to do that in consecutive games. Bryce Young completed 28 of his 50 passes for 291 yards and 8 touchdowns with 0 picks against man coverage. Why? Because the Jets run man coverage on 35.8% of their dropbacks, 7th highest. But here's the kicker for Bryce Young. They allow the 7th most at 7 yards per pass. So man coverage, barbecue chicken all day. Don't mess with it. And you know what? This kid comes from the Trinity League, which is one of the best leagues in all of America from high school. Three of those teams from that league, they went to Florida, the alleged hotbed of football, and beat Florida high schools as well. So, hey, man, he got the stones, man, and he got the mentals, man. Never give up on Bryce Young. Never give up on him.
Facts.
By the way, Carolina leads the NFL with 5.7 yards per carry on design runs from under center. That is they're at 60.4% success rate. Only trails Atlanta and Washington. They're the third highest in success rate. Mm-hmm. So they play big boy football in the Queen City. Strap up. We're going to run it down your face. Good for them.
They're getting Taylor Moton's coming back this week. Chuba Hubbard, I believe, is going to be playing this week. Jalen Coker looks like he's going to be playing this week. They are going to be without Pat Jones, most likely, the edge rusher, but getting healthier on the offensive side of the ball. The O-line's already been dominating in run blocking. So to get one of the arguably the best O-lineman back, as well as the other half of your backfield, so that so that Dowdle's not carrying it 30 plus times again, I think is going to be a big thing. And listen, I don't want to keep harping on the Jets being bad, but this is a good spot to try to figure out the split between Chuba and Rico, right? Because coming into the season, it was Chuba's.
Spoiled the show.
Yes,
I didn't know. I know.
I heard you doing it, but I was like, sorry,
know.
Whatever, let him go.
Sorry.
We'll put the visuals anyway for
okay,
people.
I'm so sorry.
But I think this is going to be a good spot for them to be able to figure out the split between Rico and Chuba. Coming into the season, it was Chuba's backfield, and Rico's kind of the second guy. But obviously, after you go out there and you put up 200 plus yards 2 weeks in a row, you kind of stake your claim at having a big chunk of that backfield work. So they're going to have to figure that out, and I think this is a good spot to do so. They're going to have to get Jalen Coker worked in. They're going to continue to work in Jimmy Horn because he's made, not a ton of plays, but some important plays over the last couple of weeks. And God willing, maybe this is a week he can get Xavier Legette going.
Hey, man, it's Uncle Rico's backfield now, baby.
We'll see.
Yeah, listen, the Jets, terrible. The defense is not terrible though. They are going to be.
Oh yeah, the defense is pretty good. Yeah,
they are going to be tough. Like you know, still like they can't overlook them. Like they have to go in there and play a hard game. But yes, we expect them to win this game. All right. And then the week after, like you said, we can overlook teams. The Jets are just they're a mess right now. Justin Fields, somebody that we thought, you know, the Panthers should have drafted, is not looking good.
He's a clear case to me of going to a bad situation with poor coaching, ruining a player's career.
I think so.
Because you see he has the ability, but you know, I think that those first couple of years in Chicago wrecked it.
Yeah.
And like they said, yes, the Jets were a poor call away from maybe beating the Broncos last weekend. Yeah. They could have won that game, but Aaron Glenn, a rookie head coach, not off to a good start. And Justin Fields, just like we said, I think he got poor coaching early on. I think it's gotten his head, not making good decisions out there, and the offense just cannot get anything going, which is why they'll ultimately lose this game, no matter what the defense does. And it's demoralizing for a defense when they play hard all game and the offense is getting you nothing. I think he had like 60 yards passing or something like that.
Yeah,
that's
as a team, they had negative yards once you subtract the sack yardage. Justin Fields had about 65 or so, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I just don't see them winning this game, and that will put the Panthers at what, 4-3?
Oh, I'm sorry, 45 yards. Thank you.
45 yards.
Yeah.
That'll put the Panthers at 4-3. And then you're looking at the Bills the following week, who I said earlier, I think you could absolutely beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Is that a home game for you, or is that on the road?
I want to say it's at home, but let me check to be sure.
But they haven't looked great at home either.
They are a very flawed team over there in Buffalo. They have James Cook, who is a great talent, but they do not have a whole lot outside of him. And Josh Allen is, he's a great player, but it's a home versus Buffalo. He's a great player, but he is still at times prone to mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And he does have those nights where he's just off. And I think if the defense continues to play as hard as they've been playing and they continue to improve each week, Carolina will be able to go in there and control that game with Tuba and Rico and get a win as well. And I mean, honestly, they're unbeatable at home.
Well, playing at home is definitely a boost for this team. And with Buffalo struggling, I mean, coming off of a bye, it's hard to beat good teams coming off of a bye because they have extra time.
I thought they were against the Jets.
Buffalo's next week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was very for a minute.
Yeah. We're kind of looking ahead a little bit. We don't want to preview that game too much.
Well, let me ask you this though. We'll end it on this question, just from to think about: is Buffalo a good team? Because they're about to be 4-4.
Well,
no, they're not. They're not a good team.
No, time out. Today, yes, they're a good team.
They're a team.
I'll still say they're a good team. There's some questions though. There's some questions.
Yeah, one of them is not a good team. And the answer is no.
Well, also too, man. This year, man,
when they come out the bye and they play the Panthers, we'll find out.
This year, every team has a horrible loss.
There are no great teams in the NFL.
No, like they're zero. Like the Packers beat on Detroit, and you're like, oh my God, Detroit. What are they? Are they good this year? What's going on? And then like Detroit looks pretty good the last 3 weeks.
2 weeks in, everybody was like, Green Bay just won the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And then they lost to Cleveland.
Exactly. And then they gave up 40 to the Cowboys, who had literally just
tied the Cowboys.
Yeah, they tied the Cowboys. And it's like, okay. And then like, the Baltimore's 1-5. That was another Super Bowl contender. Cincinnati just completely fell apart. You know what I mean? The Rams had a horrible Thursday night loss to the Niners, everybody's in the hospital. Literally everybody's in the hospital. Philly, the receivers hate their quarterback, and their quarterback's too busy giving them random quotes about how there's always rain before the sunshine, and the rainbow will come out tomorrow after the hailstorm that we're gonna go. Shut up, Jalen. You know what I mean? Like that team is fundamentally broken somehow. The Broncos looked decent for a bit. The Chargers lost all of their offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Literally all of them. And you guess what? Who the best team in the NFL is, guys? The Indianapolis Colts.
No.
Apparently.
What's the record? They have one loss?
They're 5-1.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But apparently he can't do it in New York, though. Goddamn mental. I'm you know, I'm keep it fresh.
So, yeah. Look, I mean, it's still
Houston's
early.
Houston.
Yeah, it's still early, but yes, what we've seen so far, no, there are no great teams. And going back to Baltimore, which is why it's so disappointing this year that they're looking so bad, because this is a year where they could take advantage of that and get over the hump. But it looks like it's going to be the Chiefs that take advantage of it, because the Chiefs are the team that have shown over the last 8 years that they can start out slow and end up in the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
And they look to be back
hitting the stride
on the right track again. They're getting Rashee Rice back this week. They've got Xavier Worthy back. They're going to waltz into the Super Bowl again this year.
All right, listen, because Adelia worked so hard to get these stats. We're gonna post these stats that Ferris went ahead and jumped the gun on. All right.
I know. I'm sorry.
You're a goddamn loose cannon.
Predicted future. I didn't know those were the exact.
What's the first stat here?
This is the stat about Bryce Young, who is leading the league in touchdown passes against man coverage, but interestingly enough, has 0 touch. Well, actually, I think he has 1 now. 1 in the last game against Dallas. 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions against zone coverage. So again, I said this to Caleb on your show, Ferris. Why would you ever play man coverage against Carolina until he proves he can throw the ball consistently against the zone? And I'm sure it's just a coincidence, that the numbers shake out like that, but make him prove it.
Yeah. All right, what we got next?
This is Rico Dowdle, who has kind of taken the lead in the Panthers backfield. They're going at 5.7 yards per carry on design runs from under center. That's mostly attributed to the O-line, honestly. Rico has played very, very well, but I mean, he's got some Reggie Bush at USC size holes to run through the last couple of weeks. He's getting 5, 6, 7 yards downfield before he even gets touched by Miami and Dallas. So he's playing great. The O-line's playing great. Bringing Chuba Hubbard back, I think they should be even that much better running the ball moving forward.
Yeah. Nitro says YouTube is working again. What's up, Nitro? Thanks for coming back. And we got one more. Is that? Yeah, one more. There we go.
Now, this one is the one that I'm a bit concerned about. The Jets offense has allowed a pressure rate of 51.4% this season, the highest in the NFL, and over 11 percentage points higher than any other team. So that's another thing with Justin Fields, right? They allow people into the backfield to check on Justin Fields a whole lot more than they should. This would also be the highest pressure rate allowed in a season since at least 2018. The Panthers defense, on the other hand, has pressured quarterbacks on 24.1% of their dropbacks, the lowest in the league. In contrast to their upcoming opponent, their pressure rate would be the lowest by any defense in a season since at least 2018. So just incredible levels of ineptitude in terms of the pass rush from Carolina and the pass blocking from the New York Jets. I'm not sure about the Jets O-line situation in terms of injuries, but I know that Carolina has been missing Pat Jones and DJ Wonnum for at least part of the season. So that sort of explains that a little bit. They do need to get much, much better in that regard, though. But they are relying heavily on a couple of rookies there in Nick Scorton and Princely U. They've also obviously got Derek Brown back. And, One of them is healthy. It looks like Pat Jones is going to be out. So, you really want to see those guys kind of step up their game and take advantage of a weak Jets O-line. But we'll see how that shakes out.
Stoppable force meets movable object.
That's right.
Who wins? By the way, man, zone coverage against Bryce Young. He faced 85% of zone on dropbacks against Dallas. 14 for 21, 174, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He completed as many deep passes against Cowboys and had more passing yards on deep passes, 89, than he did over his first 5 seasons. So he may be figuring it out.
Well, the thing about Dallas is worst pass defense in the league.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
We'll see how it looks against New York this week with kind of his full complement of receivers with Tetaroa, with Jalen, with Xavier, with Jimmy.
Ed Jones is done for the season, Brodny.
Oh no, really? Damn, that's terrible. That sucks. That's unfortunate for him. I thought he was in for not a great season, but I thought he was going to have a nice campaign with Carolina. But hopefully he that goes well and he gets a speedy recovery there and you get ready for next season.
Now we've been talking about possible moves that the Ravens could make by trade deadline, but something we also mentioned here on the show is if the Panthers start to go on a win streak, they show that they can compete this year, they need to make a move. And I asked you before, what kind of move would you want them to make? Is your answer still the same? I think you said linebacker. Do you still want to see them make a move for a linebacker?
Okay, I'll say it's not necessarily linebacker specifically. They have started playing better at that position, but they need someone, doesn't matter what position, someone who can cover a tight end at any point during an NFL football game, because the tight ends they have been absolutely eviscerating the Panthers defense.
Well, CJ Gardner-Johnson's out there on the street right now. You can pick him up.
Pass. But no, so if they are going to make a move, it would be for a defender who is good in pass coverage, who can help them in that area. Outside of that, I think that they can kind of stand pat and roll with what they've got right now.
I'm asking that specifically because this week, I think the Jets lose. I mean, they're already close to fire sale time. I think fire sale. I think Garrett Wilson is on the block, right? He doesn't want to be there. He
shouldn't be, but he might be.
I think he is, and that's I'm just wondering where's he going to go?
Remorse for him. I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry because you signed a second contract with them.
So he wants to get paid.
Well, yeah. He could have gotten paid by anybody else.
If he hit free agency, he would have gotten franchised.
Then he would have then said, "Well, trade me."
Like I don't blame NFL players
doing now.
I don't blame NFL players for taking the money. They're the most underpaid athletes in terms of like the major sports. They have the shortest careers, and honestly, you don't have as much control over your play as you do, as a wide receiver as you do in other positions.
That's a good point.
I'm fine with him taking the money. Like people are doing that with Myles Garrett too. Oh, you signed the contract. Yeah, man, he signed the contract because they paid him more than anybody has ever paid a defensive player. Yeah, you would have signed the contract too.
$70 million.
You would have signed it
2 years.
So would I. So would everyone else.
Yeah, that's a good point. They need to fight, because I personally think the franchise tag is an illegal practice in American labor law, and I don't know why I don't take them to court to stop it. I don't know why. I signed a contract, all right, and I fulfilled my contract. You cannot keep adding options on my contract. That's illegal. Does that happen to you? Does that happen to anybody else?
That's something that they agreed to, as a union.
Stupid.
Buck says that Garrett Wilson is injured. I just looked it up. It's not a major injury. They said he avoided a major knee injury.
He's fine.
So yeah, so he'll be ready. He'll be available come trade deadline. He'll be ready.
As soon as some non-New York air hits that knee, he'll be all right. Oh, I'm sorry, Jersey, I guess.
Yeah.
That you're not actually a New York team.
So, could Sauce Gardner get traded as well? He's still a top 5-10 corner. I don't think they'll trade Sauce Gardner. But you never know. A fire sale, those are the teams that you call, right? When I say the Ravens got to do their due diligence and call everybody for O lineman, a team like the Jets are who you call.
Well, it just depends on what they feel about the upcoming quarterback class, right? Because you have a good defense, very talented defense. You've got a young, extremely talented number one receiver. For whatever reason, they don't really like Breece Hall. He looks like he's going to be on his way out. But if you like one of these quarterbacks coming out, you're 0-6. You're going to get one. So if you think, hey, Arch Manning is the answer, or Dante Moore is the answer, or Mendoza, or whoever it is that
Ty
you like.
Simpson?
No.
What?
No.
You said Fernando Mendoza, but then you say no to Ty Simpson?
No, I said Fernando Mendoza because people have him as, some people have him as the number one quarterback. I don't think that he's going to be that guy. But
Ty Simpson's top 5.
Ty Simpson ain't nothing. But anyway, if you like one of those guys, you don't trade any of these people. You sit pat and you take your quarterback and you expect a turnaround next season, like you're seeing with the Giants with their new quarterback. If you're not necessarily in love with this quarterback class, maybe you take Ruben Bain, or you take the tackle Caden Proctor and trade one of these guys and stack up on whoever it is, Ferris. You take one of these guys and stack up on picks and look towards the future. So it just depends on what they see in their immediate future.
Hey, I want to tell everybody right now, right? Everybody in the chat right now. All right. You see Alabama and tackle in the NFL draft. You tell your team, no. You hear me? No. You say no. Trust me, as a man who has got badly, you say no.
Hey, you have a bad GM.
You gotta don't just
he
look at the
was the number
school.
one tackle on every board. What are you talking about?
You gotta look at the player, not just the school. Look, OJ, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You want Caden Proctor for the Ravens. That's exactly the move that you don't make in the offseason if you're the Ravens. We just talked about how terrible the O-line is, and you want to go defense. Why?
No. Proctor's the
tackle.
The tackle.
He's a tackle.
He's the one that Ferris is talking about.
Yeah, I'm the one. I'm talking about him. Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain is the end.
He's the DN. Okay. No. Okay, OJ, I take that back.
And listen. I don't care what your situation is. Ruben Bain is not.
Yeah, you get Ruben Bain, man. You get Ruben Bain, man. You get Ruben Bain.
I disagree. You gotta sacrifice.
You have no pressure from the edge.
So what?
I'm gonna
go guard. You need guards.
I'm gonna tell you why again, because you have 2 holes of guards.
I'm sorry, OJ. I was trying to fry you. I turned the heat off. Okay? I turned the heat off.
He's about to throw me in the skillet.
I put that pan right back in the cabinet. Okay, my bad.
You go and you fix that O-line problem in free agency, not with a GM who because you're not drafting a guard in the top 10. There's no Quentin Nelson out here, and this GM in particular has shown you. He can't pick O-linemen, generally speaking. You go ahead and it doesn't have to be Ruben Bain. Like you take whoever it is with that first round pick. You go into free agency like Carolina did a couple of years ago. You sign the 2 best guards you can find to come in and solidify that O-line immediately. Because again, it's about timing as well, right? You have to have the right players at the right time. And you are not looking to bring in rookie guards and wait for them to develop.
We need tackle too. You
need a backup tackle. Which, by the way, is not something that we mentioned when we were talking about the Ravens. Do not play Ronnie Stanley when you come back from your bye. He's hurt. Let him heal. I don't know why John Harbaugh hates this man, but every single time he's hurt, he knows he can't go. John's like, run and get out there, man.
And then he goes out there and tries to play. He doesn't play great, and people are like, "Yo, he sucks."
Right.
Yo, what's wrong with Ryan Stanley? What's wrong with Ryan Stanley is he's hurt.
That's what, no. You know what? That's what happened with Andrew Thomas. He was hurt, and Johnson was like, "What happened to him? Why does he suck now?" I don't know. Probably because he has a fracture in his foot.
And I'll tell you what. Too. And I know hindsight is 20/20. But foresight caught this one with us. If you draft Josh Simmons, this is not even an issue.
Facts.
Right. But yeah, you got your little safety in the back there, not catching interceptions that hit him in the chest, not covering guys, not making tackles, not forcing fumbles, not affecting the game. You could have had Josh Simmons playing guard right now, helping solidify that O-line. And then when Ronnie Stanley's done, he moves right over to left tackle. And that's your guy for the future. And you can just go into free agency, get a couple of decent players, and your O-line is fine. You don't have that problem.
I'm still going to disagree with you. I'm not saying,
I remember when y'all had Kevin Zeitler. Y'all signed Kevin Zeitler. He was very.
Hold on. Like I'm going to disagree with you on that point. Like if we get a chance to get somebody like Ruben Bain, man, we still need wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'll remind you that Eric DeCosta has missed on all of his wide receiver picks except Zay Flowers.
Mm-hmm. But we're talking about a high pick. If we're high enough to pick Ruben Bain, we are up there. We're in that area where
I'll tell you what though, I'm not sure that there's a wide receiver worth taking there this year.
In the top 10? Yeah, no, I don't think
so. I don't think there is.
Well, probably Jordan Tyson.
Jordan Tyson, maybe, but
but he's probably back end, like 8 to 10 to like 8 to like 12.
He's not in. He might go in that area. He's not in the same class as Ruben Bain.
Yeah, like
yes,
if we were in the top 10, let's say the Giants fall apart, we would draft a wide receiver because we don't need Ruben Bain in a sense because we have 3 defensive linemen, and then we also don't need a tackle like Caden Proctor because we have Jermaine Illuminor and Andrew Thomas. So we would go Jordan Tyson, but let's say somebody does something stupid and like Kayvon's not on the team anymore. I would go after Ruben Bain personally.
I mean, I'm not gonna act like I know this wide receiver class, but if any of them are better than Bateman, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you just talk about better than Bateman, hey, go second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh round,
go Jordan Tyson.
And Miles, our wide receivers aren't fine. Our wide receivers are not fine, right? Like we have a good one in Zay Flowers. He's still kind of growing into that position, with turnovers and whatnot. He's got to make better plays. But we have DeAndre Hopkins, who's got 1 or 2 more years left. We got Bateman, who's not good enough. He was a bust.
1 second, we did get a super chat. Thank you very much, Rave. Just keep grinding, fellas. Appreciate that. Thank you. Y'all, listen. Y'all have been talking it's the scheme, blah 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 stuff with the wide receivers for about 8 years now. And I'm not even gonna say that it's incorrect. You do need better coaching on offense. You need a new offensive coordinator, you need a new head coach, and all that. Y'all are aware that there are wide receivers who produce regardless of scheme, right?
DeAndre Hopkins.
And do you not want one of them?
DeAndre Hopkins did it regardless of quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And this is false. The man was Bateman catching, is not better than Zay.
No, he's not.
The man had 1,000-yard. DeAndre Hopkins, when he was in Houston, had multiple 1,000-yard receiving seasons with Matt Schaub, Brandon Whedon, T.J. Yates. Larry Fitzgerald was catching footballs from Ryan Lindley, Derek Anderson, and John Skelton, and was getting 1,000 yards. Sometimes receivers, regardless of scheme or quarterback, are gonna get you 1,000. If you need your scheme to get your receivers wide open, then your receivers are kind of limited in a sense. That's why look at all the receivers at the Niners. They're all scheme receivers because Kyle Shanahan, he wants his scheme is the thing. He doesn't really care about having the star, like a true star number one. Debo was schemed up, or sometimes when Debo would just run the ball, not like when he was a receiver, when he would just run it, he would then make a play, but he would scheme up people. But if you gave, Kyle Shanahan, Larry Fitzgerald in his prime, Larry Fitzgerald would have like 200 yards a game. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Some receivers don't need that. You want to get that receiver.
Like what Baltimore has right now is what you should be looking at as the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Right. Zay is a very talented guy. I think he's right now, a high end 2 type of wide receiver.
Yeah.
But you want to go out and get do you honestly think if Cincinnati threw out their playbook and completely changed everything up next year that Jamar Chase wouldn't produce?
Yeah.
Right.
Or T. Higgins.
Yeah. You need guys who are talented. And this is the same thing that you guys have been doing. We're doing at running back before Derrick Henry got here. It was, oh no, we don't need a top tier running back. We got Gus the Bus, and JK is talented. And no, man, look, you need elite talent if you want to be an elite team.
Hold on a second. Mog says we have a shifty 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's 6 foot.
We sure about that?
Running deep, Zay running deep routes like he's a contested catcher in a tight end spot. We also have Likely and Andrews to go deep. Bugging. What pass have you seen Andrews catch?
Zay Flowers is 5'9".
Mog, stop playing with the modded players.
Oh no, he's saying sub 6 foot, sub 200.
Minus 6 foot, minus 200. I'm sorry.
Minus. Okay, my bad.
Okay, got you.
But listen, the size isn't the issue, because again, the best wide receiver that you've ever had was 5'8" in Steve Smith. But again, nobody's even saying that you're wrong about them needing to deploy these players differently. The point is, you need more talented players.
But Andrews, when was Andrews a deep target?
He's never a deep target.
Andrews is somebody that they've been talking about him possibly on the trading block. And those aren't wide receivers; those are tight ends. Get Lamar better talent. Like why are we always limiting what we can get Lamar on that side of the ball? Right? Why is it always, man, it's good enough. It's good enough. But let's go get the help on the defense, and defense doesn't even show up. Man, I'm done with the defense. They have enough over there. They need to figure it out. However they figure it out. If Zach Orr's a problem, give it to Zach Orr and keep it going. But they have enough over there. If their pass rush ain't good enough, then talk to your boy EDC. He put all those guys there. Okay? Should have kept Owe if that's the case. All right. Look, we still got 75 people in here. Hit that like button. If you're new in here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're going to do a quick court of public opinion. We're going to do submitted questions, and we're going to get up out of here because we are dangerously close to 2 hours. All right? And we don't do 2 hours over here. Roquan not coming back until November. We'll see. I don't know. I thought they said something about him coming back after the bye. That's some other news came out. Guess what? He wasn't playing great either. All right. I mean, it sucks. I don't like to see players getting hurt, but nobody in that defense was playing good enough for me to be like, oh man, we're gonna miss him.
Well, you saying Bateman crushed it deep last year? Okay, fine. He was like a 700-800 yard receiver last year.
We don't have any great wide receivers on the team. Zero, none.
Yeah, Ted Ginn killed it going deep for Carolina in 2015 too. That doesn't mean you come back with Ted Ginn. He's not good enough. Bateman is not good enough. You want better talent than that.
Yeah. We have a good wide receiver in Zay Flowers that we're projecting to be really good, but there are no great wide receivers on this team. I want a great wide receiver for my great quarterback. All right. Not submitted questions. We're going to do court public opinion. Juju Smith-Schuster got into a little tussle with Brian Branch after the game. I was going to play the clip, but I didn't want you to take it down for the violent nature in which he was manhandled after the game.
Hold on. When I say we don't need him getting 1,000 yards, Okay.
Yes, we do.
Well, listen. If that's the way that you want to go with it, you don't need to change anything. You had one of the best offenses in the league. Lamar had a historic passing season running the offense just the way you're running it, right? Like it's fine. You don't need anything there.
Okay. All right. And he says Tyreek had almost 2,000 yards last year. What happened? Myles Garrett had how many sacks last year? What happened? TJ Watt had how many sacks last year? What happened? Michael Parsons had how many sacks last year? What happened? Sacks don't matter either, but you guys want an edge rusher.
Kwame, he had 10 touchdowns and Owe had 10 sacks, and y'all hate him. Like it's not just that. Like Bateman is not a consistent player. And nobody's even saying get rid of Rashad Bateman. We're saying you need to get a player better than Rashad Bateman.
Yes. You need to add to it, right? You guys always keep adding to the defense. Every time you add something to the defense. Oh, we're adding an extra safety. We're adding an extra corner.
Miles, we said guard. He's saying, no, we want guard. Yeah, we said that.
Exactly.
Are you new here, Miles?
Yeah,
on the priority list, it's offensive line first, guards, tackles, and then weapons.
I think he misunderstood what we were saying earlier. We were talking about a scenario where we're drafting high.
Yeah.
B and Ferris is saying there aren't going to be any guards. There's not going to be a Quentin Nelson type of guard.
No.
If we're drafting in the top 10, right? So we're talking about what to get there. B is saying, look, you got to address guard and free agency in the offseason. Get some veteran guards, and I agree. Get some guys that you know can play right now. In the draft, when you're drafting that high, he's saying get somebody like Ruben Bain, somebody with great talent, great potential. I'm saying even if we solidify the O-line before we go into the draft, which we absolutely should, I still think we need to go take a look at a wide receiver if there's a player like that in this draft. For what it looks like, there isn't a player like that. But if there were, yes, I would rather get that on offense than addressing defense, because we spent so much on the defensive side. I really want to go all out for the offense this next offseason. So if you're confused about that, that's what we were saying. We weren't saying we need to address wide receiver before guard. I'm saying in the draft, in this scenario where there isn't a guard that's worth going that high, go wide receiver.
Kwame is asking how many targets do Bateman, Walker, and D-Hop have put together, because he's saying they have all these weapons. Rashad Bateman has 22 targets, and he's caught 11 of them.
Weapon. No one's disagreeing with the need for a guard, but you just said that we all want defensive linemen.
That's not what anybody said.
No. All right, Mog. So,
Moggs. I think it's because most of the people you call the purple, was it the purple patrol? Is that what you call them? What do you call them?
That's Garnett's term. We call them gatekeepers.
The gatekeepers. Most gatekeepers, they say defensive line. Moggs agrees with us. Right here. Moggs agrees. You want. See, Moggs. Yes, right. Moggs agrees. On draft night, if you're high, you're probably going to draft a D lineman because there's no guard you can draft that high. A guard is a major need. Exactly. So that's why you go in the second and third rounds. You go after guards there in the second and third rounds. But the problem here is your GM, like we've been saying, hasn't shown the affinity to draft good linemen. He drafted Tyler Linderbaum and Roger Rosengarten. So you have those three, and then Ronnie Stanley. So go get veteran guards, so you don't have to draft guards in the draft. You have veteran guards who come in and take over those starting jobs. So then in the draft, you can then focus on other positions of need, right? Because if you sign veteran guards, then in the draft you can go defensive line or receiver in the top 10 because you guys are probably going to draft in the top 10. So get guards in free agency.
Look, depending on the talent that's there, that's what's going to determine what to get. Assuming we're picking that high. I don't think we're picking that high, but assuming we're picking that high, yes, the level of talent that's there. I'm saying if there's a wide receiver, that's good enough to go that high that we really think could be that guy, you go him over anybody on defense. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is, because there is nobody on defense, nobody that we're going to look at to lean on to win us games. Not a single person.
You know what though? That's what's great about Ruben Bain. You ain't got to look at him; he just does it.
Exactly.
What the player that
he
you're
was
talking
born
about,
in the darkness.
The players that
You
you're
merely
talking about
adopted it.
are Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams.
That's next
who
year.
will be coming out next year.
That's
Gotcha.
Not this.
Not this year,
2027 draft.
Yeah, sucks that y'all suck now. If y'all sucked next year, then you could draft Jeremiah.
But you know what? Like, it doesn't even matter, right? Because John Harbaugh told y'all about Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
He's saying take him.
He's saying get him.
He's saying take him.
Exactly.
All right, quick. All right. No. We gotta go.
No,
we got to push this. Juju Smith. Listen, what Brian Branch did after the game. Listen, man. I know from what I heard, Juju Smith is very annoying. He does a lot of trash. You know, some people say he does little cheap things during the game to really get under your skin. And I have no doubt that's what he did in that game. The Kansas City Chiefs seem like they're annoying, right? Yeah. They seem like they'll get under your skin.
Look at their quarterback.
Pat Mahomes does. Pat Mahomes talks all kinds of trash in that game where he got hit. I think it was Aiden Hutchinson hit him super late. Hutchinson got a flag for it, and Pat Mahomes is in his face, just like, you stupid, right? Like he just kind of just egging them on. Right? Like, that's the team that they are, but it's football. It comes with the territory. Yep. After the game's over, shake hands and be on your way. Right? Did he do anything to really make you want to? Well, I mean, not want to, but like to really warrant you going over there and hitting him? No,
because you didn't hit him when he did it.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a play. So there's a play where Brian Branch is, coming down on the line, and then Juju's like, it was a block in the back. It wasn't that egregious. It wasn't like harmful. It was just a standard block in the back, and the ref didn't call it. That's the ref's fault.
Yeah,
not Juju's fault.
Well, I mean, it's Juju's fault too.
No, it is Juju's fault. He committed a foul that wasn't called, and getting blocked in the back, it's annoying. But my thing is like they wanted Brian to shake hands. He didn't want to. He just walked past Patrick Mahomes, and then someone grabs him. Is like, "Hey man, you got to shake his hand." It's like, no, I don't. I don't have to do that.
Well, no, he's the one that passed up Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, he walked by him,
and then he went and hit Juju right after that. Like, I think it was right after that. But I mean, no, man. Like, I've heard like Zaire Franklin talk about it, say, yeah, I'm glad he did it because Juju be doing stuff like that in the game. Look, a lot of players do stuff like that. A lot of players. That's not why Brian Branch did it. Brian Branch did it because he thought they were better than that. Mm-hmm. Right? Yes. The Lions came to Baltimore. They beat us. They ran all over us, and they thought they arrived. I know they thought that because their coach Dan Campbell after the game in the locker room was talking about, now we know, now we know what it takes to be up there or something like that. Now we know what it's like to play at a high level, because they're looking at it like this team could be the team that goes to the Super Bowl. Talking about the Ravens, and we could be playing them. And now we know what it's like, what they have for us. They felt like they arrived. Mm-hmm. Then they went to Kansas City and realized they ain't there yet.
Yeah, the real team that they're going to face in the Super Bowl, not that mirage. This is the real team you're going to face. But then also, you can complain about, the refs missed a bunch of penalties. Why'd you throw that flag in there? Yeah, I get it, but screw you, Suge. All right, you heard yourself.
No, keep going. Come on, we got.
Exactly. Like there's a level that you still need to get. You can complain about the refs all you want, and you know what? There were some egregious penalties that wiped off a lot of stuff for the Detroit offense. You know what I mean? But you lost. You're mad. Brian Burns thinking exactly. It's heat of the moment stuff. It is what it is, man. I see no problem.
All right. So Listen, Brian Branch, we understand he's annoying, but guilty. All right, you get your 1 game suspension. You were in the wrong. It's football. Deal with it. And it's 1 loss, man. It's still early in the season, man. Like you're disappointed. You thought you were gonna take out the 2 teams that you thought could represent in the Super Bowl, and you beat one of them, and the other one said it ain't your time yet. All right, you have all season to work on your mistakes. It's not the end of the world. All right. All right. Submitted questions, and let's get up out of here.
Okay, we're gonna do rapid fire submitted questions.
You got it.
I'm gonna throw 1 question to one of you. We're gonna get 1 response. We're gonna move on. Right. Ferris, this one's for you. Should the MLB install a salary cap and have the Dodgers ruin baseball?
No salary cap, salary floor.
Okay. And have the Dodgers ruin baseball?
No.
Goddamn right they have it. That's my team. 2 in a row. 2 in a row coming soon. Jose, Starks is ranked as this is from AKA Young Wild. Starks is ranked as the 61st safety by PFF. Imanwari is first. Starks may get better, but if he doesn't, at what point does the general public start looking at EDC differently for these crippling draft mistakes? Hollywood over AJ and DK, Oweh over Dickerson and Creed Humphrey, Ojabo over Pickens, Bateman over Amon-Ra. Why is he looked at as an elite drafter?
Dang, Imanwari, he balling out there. We might owe him an apology.
No, you don't. He has your previous defensive coach. That's all.
He's still playing well. I don't care.
No, I'm saying that if Mike McDonald was coaching in Baltimore, we'd be saying that about Malachi Starks. Not that he's not a bad player, but he's got a genius defensive coach.
Yeah, good for him though. Good for him. Yes, they are starting to question the EDC now. It's something that we've been saying for a while. He spent a lot of draft picks drafting guys that just didn't work out. Also bringing in free agents that just didn't work out. He's not a good GM. Stop making excuses for him. You don't owe him anything. He hasn't done anything for you to give him this type of grace. All he did was work next to Ozzy. He wasn't Ozzy. He deserves all the smoke.
Okay. This one's for me. This is from D Weezy. He says, do we see the Ravens without Lamar or win without Lamar? And can the Ravens make the playoffs if he's not back before week 9? And should T-Mac be in consideration for Offensive Rookie of the Year? If Lamar is not back before week 9, the Ravens are finished because they lose to Chicago. Season done. But I think he'll be back for that game. So I don't think we're going to see Baltimore without Lamar anymore. As far as Teddarella McMillan, now that he has visited the end zone, yes, he is in consideration for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He has to keep up his level of play. Carolina has to keep winning, but he is having a fantastic rookie year. If he keeps it up, he's absolutely in consideration. He's not going to win it because he doesn't play quarterback. I think it's probably going to end up being Jackson Dart. Should
be Cam Scatterboot, but that's just my opinion.
No, shouldn't. He sucks.
What you watch these last 2 games and you say this?
The dude that's out there at what was it, 4.1 yards per carry? I told Jose, like by week 7 of starting Cam Scatterboot, y'all are all going to be tired of it.
Man, 4.1. Hey, so you're saying 2 rushes gets you 8 yards? It's 3rd and 2. That's great.
Did you see the backflip though?
It's absolutely not great, but okay.
Shout out to Kwame
said, thank you very much for the super chat. He said, you don't just draft talent, you have to coach it. Other players working out is an indictment of the coaches. Absolutely. Exactly. 100%.
That's also the job of a GM to get the right coaches here. Just saying.
Yeah, technically, but some places you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Again, well, hold on. People bring this up all the time. Oh, EDC doesn't have that power. Still his fault. He could have picked any open job at the time when he wasn't the GM. He could have left anywhere and gotten the exact job that he wanted, a place that was going to let him pick his own coach, his own staff and everything, where he had more control and less hands-on from the owner. He decided to stay. That's his problem.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it his fault that John Harbaugh was a bad coach. It's his fault for staying there, but
yes,
it's not his fault that the coaches suck. Like he can't change the fact that, like, if he had taken another job somewhere else, your coaches would still suck.
I say it's his fault that he hasn't fired him.
But he can't fire him.
Then quit.
No, and that's fine, but it's not his fault that John Harbaugh sucks. it's his fault that he's staying in that situation. But if he left that situation, if he quit, if he said tomorrow I'm resigning as the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, your coaches would still suck, and the next GM would come in and your coaches would still suck because they don't have the power to fire him. So
yeah, but it's the same thing we say with quarterbacks that are in bad positions. Say, hey man, right or wrong, you get the blame when you lose, you get the credit when you win. Same thing with the head coach, same thing with the GM. Right or wrong, you're in charge of all of that. Whether you can hire them or not, we're looking at you. You're in that position. You don't have a good coaching staff. Your players aren't working out that you're drafting. That's on you.
Yeah, the player's part is on him. But yeah, I mean, if he can't fire the coach, then the coach is being bad is not on him. Like him choosing to stay there that's his decision. But the coach is being bad is not his fault, because whether he's there or not, those coaches are still going to be bad. That's not an EDC thing. He didn't put those coaches in place. He's not keeping them in place. If he left, John Harbaugh is still the coach. You still have bad coaches. The next GM comes in, he's still your coach. You still have bad coaches. It doesn't matter who's in that position. They can't fire the coaches. So it can't be the GM's fault that the coaches are bad.
Yeah. So Mike Tomlin doesn't get to pick his quarterback. He works with whatever trash that he gets. Now, granted, he wins a lot of times, but he still gets a lot of flack from people saying, hey man, like they haven't really been relevant in years. They haven't gone back to the Super Bowl in this many years. He hasn't had a good quarterback in years. It's still on him because he's the coach.
But that's not the same scenario, because he controls who plays and he controls how they play. He controls how the offense is going to be run and all that. But and I'm certain that he has a say in who they're going to draft at those positions. I'm saying if Eric DaCosta says, hey, Stevie B, I want to get John up out of here, and he's like, no, there's nothing you can do about that. And whoever is in that position, they can go to him and say, hey, we need to fire this guy. And if he says no, there's nothing you can do about that. So they don't have any influence on that position. Like, whereas Mike Tomlin, you do have influence on how that team plays, regardless of who the quarterback is. And he does have the ability to bench quarterbacks if somebody who is not playing well, and he's done that before. And he does have input into who the quarterback is going to be.
He went into that position willingly, knowing what the situation is. If you take the job knowing, hey, this is going to be the coach for better or for worse, that's still a poor decision.
That is not necessarily the case, though. Owners lie. Herm Edwards took that Kansas City job knowing that he was going to have the time to rebuild Kansas City, and the owner said, "No, you don't."
Then you had to at least start the conversation and say, "Hey, man, I want to pick a different coach." And if he says no, you keep putting pressure, and then you say, "Hey, all right, man, like I'm out. I'm not going to."
That's fine, but we don't know that he hasn't done that or when that happened or whatever. Because like, you come in and they've been very successful by normal standards. They've been in the playoff almost every year, and maybe, like our friend Kadri, he's just recently come around to the fact that John Harbaugh has to leave. Right? we don't know, but I'm just saying, like, regardless, like, what's his fault is staying there, not the fact that the coaches in Baltimore are bad, because he can't do anything about the coaches being bad.
You gotta wrap this up. Fast, real quick, let the people know where they can find you.
Good Friends, Better Rivals, every Friday, 5 o'clock Pacific. Me and Caleb talk NFC East, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. And we always do post games after both games most of the times. And I do play-by-play for all the Giants games, except I missed one. All
right.
Wait. Yeah, I missed one.
That's it. All right. Listen, patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where we're going to do overtime shows starting right now for Patreon members and channel members. So go check it out. If you're not a member, it's only $5 a month. So go sign up. All right. B, you ready? Adelia's ready. We're out of here. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us through all that YouTube mess. And we will see you next time.